Jonas wasn't just quiet, he was nearly invisible. If you asked anyone at Briar Oaks Diner who he was, they'd pause, tilt their heads, and then say, "Oh, the dishwasher guy?" He arrived every day at 4 p.m. sharp. Always through the back. Always in the same olive green hoodie under his apron. Always with that same old blue cap pulled low over his eyes. He moved like he didn't want to disturb the air. No chatter. No complaints. He didn't laugh at the cook's jokes or join the after-shift smokes in the alley. He clocked in, rinsed, scrubbed, stacked, and swept quietly like he'd done it his entire life. Dish Ghost, the new line cook, called him once. "Bet he sleeps in the walk-in," another joked. Even the manager, Sharon, sometimes forgot he was there until she'd shout, "Where's the dishwasher?" and he'd already be halfway through the closing load. But Jonas never reacted. Not to the laughter. Not to the stares. Not even when someone accidentally poured grease water near his station. He just nodded. Wiped it. Kept working. What they didn't know. He wasn't always this silent. He had once been a volunteer firefighter. He'd held radios and axes. He'd pulled people from wreckage. Until one night, a fire took more than flames ever should. After that, he didn't speak much. He didn't want to relive it. He just wanted to be of use, somewhere no one expected anything from him or asked what had happened. And so, every evening, he washed away the grime of strangers and tried to forget the one he couldn't save. Friday night. The fryer sizzled like it was angry. Kids ran between booths. A birthday table sang out of tune. The kitchen slammed out orders, plates clattering, orders shouted. Chaos, but the kind everyone could handle. Until it wasn't. Jonas had just finished a tray of cutlery when he smelled it, different from burnt toast or overcooked fries. Wiring. Electrical. Sharp. Dangerous. He froze. He knew that smell. He remembered that night. Then, pop. A flash of orange above the fryer. And suddenly, fire. Real fire. The flame licked up toward the ceiling in a smooth, silent motion, beautiful and horrifying all at once. But there was no alarm. No sprinkler. Just open flame, and the wrong kind of silence. Someone screamed. A tray fell. The hostess dropped her headset. A toddler crawled under a booth, unnoticed in the rush. Fire! Fire! Someone finally yelled. Jonas didn't think. He didn't panic. He moved. He grabbed the towel hanging near the sink, soaked it, wrapped it over his mouth. Then he yanked the fire extinguisher off the wall, the one no one else had touched in years. He stormed into the kitchen. The flames were up the back wall now. Everyone else was running the other way. He pressed the trigger, a cloud of white foam swallowed the orange. But then he saw the child. Curled under the booth. Frozen. Alone. Jonas dropped the extinguisher. Dropped to his knees. Crawled into the smoke. The child clung to his hoodie with tiny hands. Jonas wrapped him in his arms and pulled his own apron over the boy's face, shielding him from smoke. Then, step by step, heart pounding, knees shaking, he walked the child out through the fire, the noise, the chaos. Not as a dishwasher. Not as a ghost. But as a man who remembered what it meant to save someone and refused to fail again. When Jonas stepped into the front of the diner, it was like time stopped. He was blackened with soot, breathing heavily. In his arms, the boy. Still, but safe. No one moved. Sharon, the manager, stared with her hands still clutching the phone. The line cook who mocked him, pale, eyes wide. Customers stood silently, some with mouths open, some already crying. Jonas didn't speak. He just knelt and gently handed the boy to his mother, who collapsed in relief. And then, he walked back into the kitchen. Someone called after him, "Hey, wait, what's your name?" He didn't answer. He just turned the water back on, and started scrubbing the dishes that had burned in the sink during the panic. Because the job wasn't done. Not yet. Not until it was all clean. That night, they didn't call him Dish Ghost. They didn't joke. They didn't forget him. He was the man who saved a life. The man who stepped through fire when everyone else ran. And maybe he didn't want thanks. But from that day forward, they made sure he never felt invisible again. Speech balloon if this story left a mark on you, on a Jonas. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the Soul Script for more stories that shine a light on the quiet protectors among us. And tell us in the comments, who's the Jonas in your life?